Hi, Louise.
Hi, Suzanne. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Just getting my screen set up. I see Feynman added a few agenda to the meeting notes. Let me share screen.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Susan, Luis, Kash, and Bimbi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for adding to the agenda, everyone. I think we have everyone. Hello, Shui, Akash, Bin, Luis. So I guess E is not yet here, and we can start with the donation topic. Feynman, are you ready to run through the process?
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, I would like to share the donation programs first, and then we can discuss what are the next steps. And there might be some items that I will need help from our maintainers. So I submitted the Ratify donation application to CNCF TOC yesterday because they had they will have a regular review by season. So they had a review on some of those projects which are already in their queue. And Ratify has not been reviewed in that meeting yet, but I think now we added Ratify application to TOC's review queue. That means it is possible that Ratify might be able to be reviewed by CNCF in their next meeting. I'm not sure whether the next meeting will be in June or they will plan a dedicated meeting for some remaining application projects before June. And here's the issue that I created in CNCF TOC, which is mirroring the issue that I created in Ratify repository last month. So the progress, let's see. And meanwhile, I also created an issue in CNCF security tag. They will have a technical working group, and they have a dedicated security tag, which is for discuss any security related projects and also the progress in CNCF. And in general, all of those security related projects, sandbox projects, will need to be reviewed by a relevant tag like security tag before CNCF TOC vote on our application. And I created an issue in CNCF security tag, and here's the issue link. CNCF security tag replied us and asked us whether we are able to give a presentation on their April 17th meeting.
Do you have the exact time of the meeting, Feynman?
Wait for a second. You mean the schedule?
Yeah, I think it was in Kevin's email. It's 10 a.m. is at UTC +7. So
yeah, it's actually 10 a.m. UTC 7 in April. And maybe you can click on the second issue that I posted in our chat. I think in general, since they have security tech run their weekly meetings in US friendly time zone. So I recommended Akash and Luis in US time zone to help with the presentation at CNCF Tech Security regular meetings. So I want to see if April 17th is a good choice for us, or we can, or we want to find another time.
What is Simon, can you give more, like, is this just basically a general presentation of what the project does? Is it like a demo type? Is it going through, like, since it's a security review, like, what are the kind of things that needs to be covered in the presentation?
It's actually just an overview, give an overview of the project, and give a short demo of the project. And in general, they give 10 to 15 minutes to the sandbox project. And I think it's just an overview, not a security audit. And they might ask some questions and give feedback to the project applicants. And maybe we can take a look at the COPA application, and the Certec did a presentation with a slide deck attached in their issue. I also add COPA's link in our chat.
Yeah, I think I mean, if that's the case, I think Akash, you gave, I mean, we can adjust I think you gave a brown bag, a very comprehensive brown bag on Ratify maybe like a couple months ago. Obviously, like, that covers some of the internals, so maybe we can adjust that slide deck and then just do a demo.
Yeah, I think we could probably use some of those overview workflow slides. And then I have a previous demo showing the Kubernetes gatekeeper scenario already recorded. So maybe we can just show that if that's appropriate. If you think that works, Feynman. It's a short demo, maybe like 2-minute demo.
Yeah, I think 2 minutes might be good.
Okay.
And
do you feel like this is more of a presentation where we want to describe what problems it solves, like a high level, not as much technical, but more of like where it fits into the landscape, and then maybe what our differentiators are? Or do we just focus on, hey, here's the project, here's what we do, and here's a demo?
Correct. And another point is that we may also need to present what's the roadmap and what's going on in the future for the project, and how the roadmap looks like. Not just the existing features that we have in Ratify.
Okay.
Akash, does the April 17 date work for you?
That's next Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have enough time for feedback from you, Feynman, and Yi. Will that be enough time? Because it's a week.
Do you propose having an internal, or we say a pre-flight presentation with us before we present it to the tech security?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I did watch Sertaj's presentation, and afterwards they did ask him questions about like why COPA, like what is the purpose of this? There were quite a few questions. So and they also asked him about the security audit stuff too. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, whether that's just reviewing the slides or doing a full review of like a dry run. That's up to you, or we can decide that. But I think we need I want some sort of feedback on it before I just go out there and present it. Yeah.
I think have a dry run or pre-flight presentation in Ratify community is a good proposal, and we can gather feedback not only from Ian and myself, we can gather feedback from others, and we can prepare a slide deck together before we go to the tech security presentation meeting.
So could we propose doing it on April 24th if there isn't like some timeline restriction? If you think we need to get it done as soon as possible, then we can expedite it. But if not, maybe we could spend next Wednesday then doing a review of it, and then the following week we'll present it in the meeting.
I think that's negotiable. We can propose April 24 if needed.
Okay.
They have weekly meetings.
Okay.
Thank you, Feynman. Will you be handling do we already have a slot for April 17th, or do we need to talk to anyone to reschedule?
This discussion was proposed by CNCF Security Tech in an issue, and I didn't respond to there, and I think we still have the chance to discuss the schedule with them.
Yeah, if we can get some additional time. In the meantime, we can start putting the deck together with a proposal, and then start massaging the deck and getting feedback from others.
Okay, so I think we will have around 1 week to prepare for the slide deck, the demo, as well as the presentation content by April 17th. And we will propose April 24 as the presentation date in Security Tech meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay, I think that's the plan.
Yeah, Feynman, just a clarification. What's the outcome of the security presentation? Like, would they say you passed or you didn't, like you failed?
I think they will not say you passed or failed to the application, but they will give very objective feedback to what are the thoughts and their expectations on this project, and they might have positive and negative feedback on this project, and they will send the feedback to CNCF TOC as a reference for their vote. I think the decision making is decided by CNCF TOC members, not by the Security Tech. Security Tech will be a professional organization or group to give professional feedback to CNCF TOCs. So they might leverage the feedback and vote on our application.
Got it. So they're evaluating if this is a good solution or a good fit for just like as a donation project.
Correct. Something like a justification from Security Tech.
And just since you've seen a couple of these, like, what would be some concerns or some things that they would have in order, like, what are examples of projects in the past they've rejected, for instance? Like, is there any concern about some? Like, I'm just curious to know if you've seen any projects being rejected and kind of what.
Yeah. If you are asking for the rejected sandbox project by TOC, I think there are a lot of those projects, and I can find some examples. They reject those projects with different reasons, and I think we will need to figure out what are the typical problems that we need to avoid. I think most of the feedback from CNCF TOC are these projects are not fit the cloud native definition, or they are not really diverse, or they have very low external contributors engagement. I think they have different reasons to reject the project application. I don't have a complete list for reject reasons.
I know. I was just curious to know if there's like certain things we need to watch out, or or to be prepared to respond to. But yeah.
Thank you for driving this, Feynman.
Yeah, I think I prepared the donation based on their checklist.
Yeah, we will do our best.
And only a small concern from my side when I submitted the donation application to CNCF, you know, they have a prerequisite for adding the project to CNCF landscape. I'm not sure if you are aware of the CNCF landscape. I can share a link. So here is the landscape link, and they will have a very huge landscape picture, includes all of those CNCF ecosystem projects and vendors. So I'm going to add Ratify to the security and compliance area into the landscape. But when I try to submit a PR to landscape, I find that they have a prerequisite to add a new project. They will require a project, an open source project, has at least 300 GitHub stars before adding to the landscape. So at least this moment, we don't have 300 GitHub stars. So I have a bit concern on whether Ratify can be accepted and added to the landscape. Yeah, here's the security and compliance area. You can scroll down a bit.
Yeah, lots of familiar projects and some other projects I do not yet recognize. Cool. So how many stars do we have right now?
Less than 200, I think.
Yeah.
You can click on
Ratify
repo.
173. Okay, I guess we're not that close that we can make it 300 in a few weeks.
I'm not really worried about that. I saw auras come through like very low adoption, so it's okay. It has to start somewhere, right?
Yep. So Feynman, did you say you have already submitted, tried to submit the PR to add ourselves to the landscape?
Not yet. I was thinking reach 300 GitHub stars before I submitting it to landscape, because they have a checklist on their PR. If you click on my latest chat message, we can check another new project application PR. They have a checklist there. So then can you click on my, yeah.
Oh, is it a Google search?
It's not Google search.
Okay, so maybe I don't have the right link. Yeah, I see Bin posted that there's a policy orchestrator project with 91 star. Bin, are you saying that one's already been accepted?
Yeah, I found it on the landscape website.
I also noticed that one, and that project is actually a CNCF sandbox project. I'm curious why they can be accepted less than 300 GitHub star. Yeah. So Susan, what are you sharing is the checklist of the CNCF landscape. And you can see the second prerequisite in the checklist.
Yeah, I guess it's a pre-submission checklist and it's a question, do you have 300 stars?
Correct. I can definitely go without following the checklist. For example, we can submit at this moment without reaching 300 GitHub stars, but I'm not sure if whether my PR will be rejected by the maintainers.
So what's the relationship of the adding ourselves to the landscape with the donation? It's not a blocker.
It's actually one of the checklists in the CNCF donation criteria. They have a question to ask, is your project already in CNCF landscape?
I see.
And yeah, this is in another issue that I shared in the donation application issue. That is the reason that I wanted to create an issue to add Ratify to landscape, and I met the concern here.
Yeah. But I guess the immediate action item for us is to go to the security meeting that's happening, like that we want to go on April 24th.
I think
So
we this is not a necessary item for the presentation. I think if we targeting CNCF TOC June's review meeting, I think we have around maybe 2 months to increase the GitHub stars to 300. So I think it is still possible to get that goal finished by June. But we need to increase the visibility and maybe encourage people to click on the star.
Yeah, I wonder with talks from the Kubernetes convention, did we see like a increase in people trying out Ratify? I didn't observe like the star history, but I wonder if there was an increase in people trying us out.
What do you mean by Kubernetes?
The KubeCon, if we had any traffic from KubeCon.
I think it is a bit hard to track who clicked the star on which places.
Yeah.
We can only see how the GitHub stars grow in a specific period, but we don't have, there's no a specific tool to track who click on the GitHub star in which, in any area, in any place. And Ratify doesn't have any presentation and booth at KubeCon EU. So I think we might not have too much traffic from KubeCon EU this time.
Yeah.
But if Ratify can be accepted by June's meeting, I think we still have opportunities to promote Ratify in KubeCon China in August and KubeCon NA in November.
Yeah. Okay, any other items related to the CNCF tag security meeting?
I don't have any further questions. I think I will need to reply to tag security on the proposed schedule.
Yeah.
And then we will see whether April 24 is an appropriate time slot for both.
Yeah, sounds good. And we'll use next week's community meeting to do like a quick dry run. The next agenda is the transferring timeline, repo transfer timeline. Previously, Feynman, you mentioned we're targeting this week. Is that still the proposal?
We don't need to be rushed to migrate all of the repos to a new GitHub org because CNCF didn't review the application yesterday in the yesterday meeting. So I think we can still target April. Target June's meeting to finalize all of those prerequisites in their checklist. So we still have enough time to prepare for the transferring. And I just want to make sure that GitHub repository transferring will not impact our current development process and also our packages, container images that we published in the original GitHub organization. And I saw Akash has a question list here. I just copied that and paste it here, and maybe we can walk through them one by one and see whether there are any questions or concerns from the engineering side.
Yeah, Akash, were you able to find answers to these questions in the GitHub move, like README?
Some of them, unfortunately, even the documentation that Bridget had sent is not super detailed. So some of the biggest concerns I have, a lot of these things we can fix after the fact, but some of these things we don't want to be breaking customers who rely upon like the container images that we publish or like the build release assets that we publish also. So I'm not sure if once we transfer the repo to a new organization, will the existing published release assets via GHCR still be accessible from the previous repository path? That is something I'm still not able to discern from the documentation. And I don't know if there's a way, like maybe we need to talk to one of the projects that has done this and seen if they have previously published images and see what happened there. But I don't know if there's a way that we can pre-validate this before we move forward. Because I think once we make the transfer, that's kind of it. The other thing of concern is the published Helm charts. So the way we do Helm chart publishing is like via this, it's like a common GitHub action that we use. And that gets published to the GitHub Pages website, as well as that's linked to our artifact hub. So I don't know what we're gonna need to, we need to change. Shui, please.
Yeah, I just want to say it's easy to validate. You just create a new repo or new organization, and then you transfer it manually to another one and validate whether the images are still working or not, right?
We could make like another dummy repo and publish. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, so it's easy to validate. Yeah.
Sure, then would we have to make sure we have the same kind of activities, like the dummy repo would have some published artifacts, some Helm charts pointing to the published image, GHCR pages, etc. Like whatever we wish to validate, we'll have to set it up and then we'll do the transfer.
So you want to validate the GHCR images, right? For the GitHub website, or I'm not sure about website, but for the repos, it will. The GitHub will redirect automatically.
Redirect.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm not sure about the GitHub pages and also the GHCR.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we need to test those two things. We can spin up a dummy repository and try that way. Yeah.
Do we have access to,
I
or we
think
just do it from a personal fork? I don't know, public versus private organization.
I think we will need to grant the access, the appropriate access to our existing Ratify maintainers in the new organization. Then we will be able to test.
It's probably easier to try a personal repo or something like that before we try on anything bigger.
Yeah, I feel we can do the personal repo, and then we can test that. For example, I transfer the ownership from my focus branch to architecture branch, so so it will be easy to test.
Sure. Akash, in the link for like the checklist for transferring, did they have different rules for whether this repository is private, public, personal, organizational?
They have some distinction there. We need to read more closely to see, but there is a distinction between a user versus an organization. But yeah, like Shui is saying, we can just try to replicate as close as we can, create some dummy org with a repo under that and try to transfer as well. So
Yeah, sounds good. We'll have some validation there. Akash, is there any specific one that you want to talk about?
So in terms of breaking change, that was the biggest unanswered question. I think the other ones are related to broken links and things like that, but it seems like GitHub will automatically redirect. So we should be good on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other concern is after we make the move, we'll need to prioritize some of the other work that needs to happen. So some of the GitHub actions need to be updated. There's a few spots that I noticed that there's hard-coded references to Dace Labs. We probably need to change that. And then the other one is around the last point. I think we briefly discussed this before. Our CRDs are all pinned to this specific group. I don't know how it works if we try to change that group name. Is this now us releasing a brand new set of CRDs that are not compatible with existing version? If that's the case, then I think we need to wait till V 2.0.
Do you mean the last question in the list, the CRD pinned to the group?
Yes.
With the Dace Lab domain?
Yes.
I think Auras had this similar problem or the similar situation when Auras was moved from Dace Lab to a dedicated organization, and we didn't change the the API or the CRD domain when we transferred the Auras to a new GitHub organization. But we are planning to update the domain from Dace Lab to a dedicated GitHub domain with the new address after a new major release, and this might be a breaking change for users. Shui, do you have any comments on this? I think for us at this moment we still use dacelab.io in our API path.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if there's precedent for us leaving it as such, then I think that would be the easiest. Because I did some brief research, and it seems like if you change the group name, that is a very high level change. So it's gonna break the versioning of the CRDs. It's almost like releasing a brand new set of CRDs.
So Akash, our CRD is still in beta. So are we saying when we do V1, we will stay with the Dace Lab name, but when we do CRD V2, we will be able to change the name?
I mean, I don't know what our plans are for CRD V1, or maybe we just don't do CRD V1, and because CRD V1 under the new domain is going to be a separate version lineage you can think of compared to the current CRD lineage, which is based off of this group config.ratify.dacelabs.io. It's like a completely different set of resources from a Kubernetes perspective. So whether we align our versioning for CRD now to match when Ratify core goes, or Ratify application goes to V 2.0, maybe we can discuss that as well. But that's a different question. Yeah.
Yeah, but we should not do the rename from beta to 1 if we are going to do V1. Yeah.
We might consider the CRD domain change in a new minor or major release, because I think this is actually a breaking change to Ratify. And I proposed two options for the new domains in the chat. Maybe we can
So
create
we-
an issue, because
Yeah.
this is not something we can change or resolve directly, immediately, I mean.
So we will do the project transfer first, and then do V2 upgrade with the breaking change. Is that correct?
I think so,
I think
yes.
so, yeah. For the CRD domain renaming, I think we will need to do it in a new, at least a major or minor release. But this is not something breaking for the transferring, because transferring a new repository will not rely on the CRD domain.
Yeah, we'll be tracking that separately. Cool, I think E has joined the meeting, so we can jump back to the cosign public key verification topic. E, do you have any documents? Would you like to take control of the screen sharing, or would you like me to open a link?
No, I don't have a document. So I want to make sure the donation process, you just finish the discussion. I think this is also important. So my topic can wait for you to complete all the discussion for the donation related.
Yeah, sure.
I
So,
think,
yeah, go ahead, Vayman.
yeah, I think we just finished, but I can give a short summary for what we are discussed and the next step that we aligned in the meeting, because you just joined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feynman, I was
Yeah.
thinking, could you do the summary in the meeting notes as well? So
Yeah,
whenever
sure.
we come back.
Yeah, I can do it in the meeting notes, and
Okay.
if we have very limited time, I think I can add that into notes for async and give more time for the first topic.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah. So I will talk about the first topic. And actually, the first one is related to the cosign verification using the public key. It is not for the keyless verification. And currently, as we planned that user will need to store the keys in the KMs, right? For example, in Azure Key Vault. And actually, for the key, there's no expiry, there's no revocation. So all these concepts are related to the certificate. So for the key pal, there's no expiry and no revocation. So if you create a key, for example, using OpenSSL, you create a key and basically you can using the key for a long time. And if there are something happened to the, for example, private key, you need to manage the key by yourself. That, for example, you need to ask a user to not use the public key for replication because the private key is compromised. So anyway, using the key is not that secure as a certificate. That is why the reason the whole PKI infrastructure, the purpose. However, in AKV, that user can have some advanced options. For example, user can rotate the key, which means a new version will be added to the key, and the user can also disable a key. So what I want to discuss today is related to the disabling the key, because if in some cases user do not want this key to be used for verification for some reasons, for example, some keys are compromised, and they can disable the key in the Android keyboard. So in that case, if previously user configured the key for Ratify to verify, it will fail if user fetch the key from the AKV will not give you the access to use to verify. But I think for Ratify, it download the key first, right? So if for Ratify, it download the key, so how can Ratify know the key is disabled from AKV?
Are you asking like long-term or current behavior?
Actually, from user point of view, if I disable this key in AKV, it should not be used for verification. So
yeah, for the customer right now, they disable the key in AKV, and then they also have to apply the same change on the Ratify CRD.
I mean, how can user do that?
They can
I'm just
delete the
check.
CRD.
Yeah. But the previous key is also used by Ratify, right? I'm just checking whether it is cached somewhere that we should delete those keys as well. I mean, let me rephrase the question. So user create a key in AKV, user using the private key to sign images, right? And they use the public key for verification, and the public key is configured in Ratify. So everything went smoothly. The user can use the public key, configure the public key in Ratify to verify the signatures before deploying the images. And after some time, the private key is compromised, and the user disable this key pair in the keyboard because it cannot be used. Then the previous signed images should be still to be verifiable, right? However, because the key is compromised and we don't have the similar certificate revocation scenarios as the certificate, so user should have the way to disable the key that previously they configured in Ratify.
Yeah, from my understanding, the customer
those key,
gesture would
yeah,
be they'll do CRD delete on the cluster.
So they need to delete a CRD that configured with this public key, right? So
Yes.
this public key will be removed from cache.
Correct. It's the current behavior.
Okay, if user do not delete, the key will be always in the cache, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For this rotation and expiry scenario, the same thing. If there's any change that needs to propagate to Ratify, that action needs to be done manually by applying the updated CRD, like in the disable phase that'll map to, because we don't have a CRD disabled state, they'll have to delete the CRD. Sorry,
Okay.
not the CRD, the CR, the resource that maps to the keyboard.
Resource. Yeah. So that means if something happened sometime, user disable it from AKV, and user should also delete the CR that configured the key. Okay.
Yeah, we do have the tracking work item to enable, say, fetching every 60 seconds or at a regular interval to synchronize between Ratify CR and the content in the keyboard. But it's definitely not in the current milestones, not in
Okay.
1.2. I'm not sure if we lined it up for 1.3.
Yeah, that is also helpful, not only for the automatic rotation, right? User does not need to every time rotate, user need to apply CR, but also because in AKV, once user disable those key, actually, if you want to fetch it from AKV, you cannot. But if you download it, you can still use it. So I think with that mechanism, if Ratify detects that this key is not accessible for some reason, maybe from Ratify point of view, it can also automatically delete the CR.
Akash, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Akash, please.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and the current functionality is how Susan describes. But one question I have from a user scenario is the intent that there could be an option for automatically, refreshing the version or removing a disabled key once we do implement some sort of auto fetch system. But in addition to that, is there a scenario where a user knows that the key is expired, but they don't want us to switch to use the new key? Kind of like, a dual key slot. They can have slot A and slot B, and then you verify slot B works before switching to primary, before switching the primary key to slot B. Like there's like a swap gesture that happens.
That is a good question. Actually, in that case, for example, I have a key with version 1. So actually for automatic rotation, the key name will be the same, normally the same, just a new version added to that key. This is currently how the AKV behaves. So in that case, the images signed with new version of key should be able to verify, right? So because Ratify, if Ratify implemented this automatically fetching new version, so the image signed with the new version should be verified by Ratify, and the images signed with previous version should also be verified. In that case, the key should not be removed. Otherwise, the previous signed image cannot be verified. The only case is that the key, for example, the key itself or the previous version is disabled. That is explicitly set by the user, right? This version or this key, no matter what is the version, you cannot use it. In that case, I think there should be an API detect it. Then we should remove it from the customer resource.
I see. Okay, yeah, we don't have that capability today.
Yeah.
There are quite a few scenarios that you just brought up. I think we need to write this down and have it formal.
That's true. That's what I'm going to do. So before do that, I just want to confirm it. And I think I also missed this discussion last week due to some holidays. So my plan is that I will firstly write what is the current behavior, and also I think this is also a good user document. I will describe from user point of view for the key scenarios and also the certificate scenarios. Then we have that feature about automatically fetching the keys, right? So I will create a spec for that to describe the scenarios that we expect. So currently, user can achieve it by manually do some resource management, right? And in the future, we will have some automatically ways for user to handle some cases. And that part I will write a specification for review first. And I will firstly write a document for the current behaviors. And also recently, this is actually another side note that recently I found in our current website. I also create an issue that it's very hard to know how to set up the verification for the notary project signature. We have some document under the plugin extension for cosign, for vulnerability, and for spawn, but it seems there's no for notary project signature. So I'm also want to write another document for notary project signature, how user can configure it. It is not only something mentioned in the quick start for some file content inline certificate. It is also related to how you can configure from cable, and you some scenarios related for the keyword. So actually, there are 2 documents I'm preparing to create PRs.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll have a look at what tutorial we have, because the notation plugin is the built-in plugin, and we wired it to our default chart. So that's why they will have the steps will be different to configure a default a built-in verifier versus a plugin verifier. For the plugins, the customer would have to manually, most of the time, apply the CR. But for the built-in one, they are deployed with the default Helm chart. So there will be a little bit of difference in the walkthrough. But I'll try to find whatever existing resource we have, and I'll send it your way.
Yeah. Yeah, from website point of view, I spent some time, but I cannot find it. So I think it's better that we can have some documents. What I found is related to the quick start, but that is just a very simple scenario for the user. Yeah. And once we, moved to the new, after donation or during the time, so I'm not sure whether the website address will be changes. But anyway, for the website, we should also consider to put more maybe to improve the organization of the website, to have a clear document for the user point of view, and also another category for developer point of view. So currently it's kind of a mix. So I also create an issue for that. So we can address that later. This is just a side note for this topic. That when I investigate this key verification, I figure out that we may missing some documents.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you, Yi. Which reminded me, are we moving the Ratify web repo as well?
Yes, but that will not change anything. The Ratify website's domain will still be ratify.dev, and the GitHub repo transferring will not be impacted, because, as we mentioned earlier, the URL redirection will be handled automatically by GitHub.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I think I have the answer for the first topic, and I will create a document to describe the current behavior. And also for the automation, I will create a specification for the desired experience, and we can discuss maybe for our 1.3 or 1.4 release at that time point. I think this is not the focus for the 1.2. And for the notary project document, maybe we can offline sync if Susan you find some document but failed to link to the website. But at least for me, I only see the quick start on how to configure that. I don't see any document for how to configure Azure keyboard. We have that one, but that is related to the document for different cloud provider, but specifically for Ratify itself, we don't have a document for a notary project signature for other scenarios. Yes. So those 2 documents, I will start working on them. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. I remembered when we had when we discussed how do we set up the synchronization between the key vault and the Ratify CR. One of the question we had is can the customer specify their interval, or does each type have their default interval for fetching? So just a part of the design, when we have job that syncs between AKV and the Ratify CR, where should we have the fetching frequency be configured? Is it on the CR level or of the provider type, or on the CR level? So just a thought for design.
Yeah, I think that parameter, so from user point of view, I do not want to configure it because I don't know how to configure it. But maybe for some advanced users, they want to configure it. So it should not be at least the first level parameter for user and for normal user, because even we can ask them to configure, they don't know which is the proper value, right? So in most cases, it should be handled behind the scene by Ratify. But it will be flexible for some advanced user, or even for some troubleshooting point of view, we can allow to set some, set parameters to change the frequency.
Yeah, that's open for future discussion.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Anything else to discuss before we drop?
I have one last question.
Go ahead.
I noticed that there are not only 2 GitHub repositories that we need to transfer. I noticed that there are 2 very old repositories which was updated 2 years ago, which are
Actions.
Ratify Verifier plugin and the Ratify action. I guess those 2 repos are invalid or outdated because they have not been actively updated in recent 2 years. So any thoughts on these 2 repositories? Do we still need that, or we can archive them in this lab and no need to transfer?
Yeah, I think no need to transfer. Akash Binbin. I know though for the action, it's probably not functional. So when we need to implement a action that's compatible with the latest version, we will just open a new repository. Same as the plugin, we do think it's the right thing to do to move our plugins out into a separate repository, but we haven't done it. But once we have a new home, we can look into that again.
Okay, so I think we can archive those 2 inactive repos and migrate only 2 active repos this time.
Yep. Feynman, do you know if all the issues and branches, they would all map to the new home?
If you mean the GitHub link, it will be automatically mapping to the new GitHub organization URL. Or you have a very specific question, please post it in the chat.
Yeah, the issues in our backlog and the milestones, and like, do we have to recreate them?
Yeah, that all transfers.
No need to recreate. Those
Okay, good.
Those will be
that's
automatically.
confirming. And the discussions will, they'll all just be
All of those
moved.
history
Okay.
assets, everything will be automatically transferred and migrated to the new repository.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Just confirming, since it's not on the current list.
Yeah, and maybe we can check further details on the GitHub official doc.
Yep, sounds good. Cool. We're at time. Anything else?
No.
Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll talk to you next
you.
week. Yeah, we'll have the PR meeting. Akash, feel free to ask questions about the presentation as well. Yeah.
Good.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Jingchen.